I love coming up to New Hampshire. I love the slogan, live free or die.
Yeah.
I love it. You're going to send a message.
Yeah, we're going crack.
Are you going to? Thank you, Jerry. You're going to send a message about what the live free or die state wants. Are you going to send a message that the guy that spent the most money and the most time and has run the most times here in New Hampshire, that's the guy you're going to want because he's just been around? That it's his turn? Look at the guys that we voted on when it was their turn. Jerry Ford, it was his turn. Well, he's president. He was appointed. Well, let's have him run instead of this real too conservative guy named Reagan. Let's put up Bob Dole because it's his turn. Let's put up John McCain because it's his turn. Let's put up those moderates that can win.
No.
Right? Those moderates that can win. According to who? According to the national media and according to the experts who don't want a conservative to win, who don't want a Republican to win. Ladies and gentlemen, we win elections when our people are excited about who they're voting for. Woo! Right? In 1980, when we had another critical election, where we had a Democratic president that was driving this country into the ground, both economically as well as with respect to how we were seen around the world. We had a choice in a Republican primary. We had the establishment, who the money was behind and the mainstream was behind in the Republican Party. And that was George H.W. Bush. Well, he won Iowa, George H.W. Bush did. But when New Hampshire came around, moderate New Hampshire, moderate to liberal New Hampshire, when they voted, the people here in New Hampshire said, we are going to vote for what America needs, not what we're being told to do by those with the money and the power within the Republican Party. We're going to do what America needs to solve the problems America has, and you voted for Ronald Reagan. And if it wasn't from New Hampshire, Ronald Reagan would never have been the President of the United States. I've been authentic in what I say because it comes from here and here, not from some consultant's playbook.
My name's Charlie Down. I'm a general contractor down in southern New Hampshire. What are you going to do about all these executive orders and the overregulation, EPA? It's killing us. It's killing the small business. I had 13 employees 2 years ago. This year I'm working by myself. I didn't even pull a permit this year. It's the first time I've never pulled a permit. So it's crazy.
Number one, lower rates. For income tax, 10 and 28%. Two rates. 28% is a top rate. Why? Because Ronald Reagan was able to pass that through a Democratic Congress back in 1986. And if it's good enough for Reagan, it's good enough for me. On the IRS, set the IRS code aside and have a code that has 5 deductions. Children, charities, pensions, health care, and housing. Those 5. Not 3, by the way. 5, and I remember them all. And get rid of all these loopholes that allow GE to pay no taxes and you pay 35%. That's not fair. I was talking to a mortgage broker yesterday, and he told me that he's in the mortgage business. He told me that prior to Dodd-Frank, he spent 30 minutes a week on regulatory compliance issues. Now he spends 3 to 4 hours a day. He's getting out of the business. He said, if I was a big guy, I could have someone doing that for me. But I'm a solo guy. I'm out here, and I got to do this all myself. I can't make it. He said, I just don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to go do something else. And you know what happens? They're smiling over at Citicorp. Because here we have another piece of competition gone by the wayside because they were able to negotiate with the Obama administration on a bunch of legislation that they knew would cost them money, but they knew would increase their market share. Right? And their profitability. Sure, they'll charge more, but that charge will be passed on to you because they have to pass it on, right? Because the government requires them to do it. This is the insidious nature of the left and of President Obama. It's all about big. It's all about the big guys and big business. I get a laugh when I hear, oh, Republicans are the party of big business.
Right.
All right? Go and check your election reports and see where big business sends their money to. It isn't to Republicans. It's certainly not to me. They're sending it to the guys that help them. And that's the folks who are for big. And that's the left. It's really funny that they rail against big corporatism and everything they do helps them. Because it crushes the little guy. The Obama administration's new tax that's coming into effect next year on medical devices. It's a 3.2% excise tax. They just said, and by the way, you make a lot of medical devices here in New Hampshire. And they're overwhelmingly small companies. Well, guess what that 3.2% tax is going to do? Cost 45,000 jobs. 45,000 high-paying, good-paying manufacturing jobs, and where are they going to go? Somewhere else. They're going to go somewhere else. This is the kind of destructive. He says he cares, and then he takes your job. That's not caring. Yes.
Hi, Rick. I'm from Delaware, and I'm a flatlander. And I hate to say you're not my first choice, but you have maybe my second. Okay, I just want to ask you, you kind of are portraying yourself as the little guy, you know, and you drove around a truck in Iowa and everything. But I was kind of wondering, being from Delaware, there's a couple of things I'm not real excited about. Why did you go with ARLEN SPECTER and support him? That's, you know, that's one thing you get all the time.
You know, I've answered this question, and my wife says, you know, to say two words: Roberts and Alito. And those two guys, particularly Alito, I am confident would not be on the court today had I not done what I thought was in the best interest of our country. And not my best political interest, I will assure you, as you probably heard. And it certainly wasn't my best political interest in 2006 when I was running for re-election, was to stand up and support someone who, you know, at the time was not the best Republican in the world, but was someone who was going to be chairman of the Judiciary Committee, who was going to win re-election and be chairman and assure us as chairman, as he would, that we were going to get 2, and I thought maybe even 3 Supreme Court nominees approved for 30 years. And I always make the call. If it's one senator for 6 years and a big hit for me politically versus 2 Supreme Court justices and maybe 3 for 30 years, I'll take the hit. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm out talking about growing this economy because I don't want to be President of the United States to be the most powerful man in this country. I want to be President of the United States to give you back the power in this country.